on a very important game for Wigan Athletic. Seems to all be important nowadays. The two teams anyway. This afternoon's visitors, very distinctive strip. The numbers don't stand out very well. Huddersfield Town, and they line up as follows. In goal, Steve Hardwick. Number 2 is Junior Bent. Number 3, Chris Hutchins. Number 4, Andy May. Number 5, Ken O'Doherty. Number 6, Graham Mitchell. Number 7, Kieran O'Regan. Number 8, Julian Winter. Number 9, Mike Sazia. Number 10, Craig Maskill. Number 11, Mick Byrne. And the two substitutes this afternoon. Number 12 is Simon Tebbit. And number 14, former Notts Forest player, Peter With. Wigan, in usual blue and white strip, line up as follows. In goal, Nigel Adkins. 2, Steve Senior. 3 is Paul Beasley. 4 is Peter Atherton. 5 is Andy Olding. 6 is Stan McEwen. Number 7, Andy Pillin. Number 8 is John Butler. Number 9, Wayne Entwistle. Number 10, Tony Diamond. Number 11, Andy Ainscough. Number 12, Andy Wilson, returning to Springfield Park after a short absence. And number 14, Alan Tankard. Referee for this afternoon is Mr. Gary Alpin from Kendal, and there's 2 linesmen. With the red trim is Mr. Davis, and the yellow trim Mr. M. Mountain. So Wigan will attack the Shevington end. First 45 minutes. A fair contingent of followers from Huddersfield. And let's hope that Wigan show something of the form that they showed on Tuesday evening against Blackpool, late in the second half, when for 10 minutes Blackpool were well and truly stretched, following Tony Diamond's goal. Here's Atherton. He's taking up his usual position of right back. Steve Senior's playing at the right hand side of midfield. That's aimed towards Entwistle. And offside. I'm going to take some getting used to these Huddersfield strips. Indeed, it was Mick Byrne, number 11, who's taken up the centre forward position, who was in the offside position. McEwen's free kick. That's Byrne. Here's Junior Bent, made a run right on the white. Ball's crossed. And Huddersfield are 1 up. Junior Brent spun the offside trap, and the scorer was Craig Maskill. To burn with these numbers, they're just virtually impossible to see from this height. Here's Pillin. Wigan 1-0 down inside 2 minutes. Diamond, that's Senior, back for Diamond. Here's Byrne. And McEwen did well. Here's Bent again. He's got him behind Beasley. And just wide. And this time the referee signalling to his linesman. Linesman had flagged for offside. Wigan players protesting about it. Paul Beasley's got his hands full with this man Junior Bent. If this is Junior, I'd hate to see Senior. Ball didn't fall for Entwistle. Safely back. There's one number we can see definitely on the back of the goalkeeper. That's Steve Erdwick. It's number 1. I don't know how well they're being picked up on the monitor, but they're certainly not being very well picked up from up here. And I colour match paint for a living. McEwen. Peter Atherton's clearance. Only for a throw-in. Here's Byrne. Shot charged down by McEwen. And Ian score. Here's McEwen again for Beasley. Clearance by Beasley, not too far. Senior slipped. And Andy Holding safely back to Nigel Adkins. Header on by Entwistle. Here's Diamond. Senior's in the middle, so is Entwistle. Wide on the left-hand side is Ainscough, but all the way by Diamond. Tried the chip. Good run by Tony Diamond. Header was by Holding. Looked like Entwistle was climbed on. Andy Pilling tried to put Diamond away. Diamond beat the offside trap. Keeper's out. Took a punch by Erdwick. Kick back in was by Entwistle. Senior failed to control it. Huddersfield stretched for a second. Byrne. That's one for Cecilia to chase, but Andy Holding safely back for Nigel Adkins. So an exciting start. Positive play from both sides. Beasley, Bent got round him on the outside again. Showed a fine turn of speed as Junior Bent. Beasley, of course, playing in an unfamiliar left back role. He did well. Butler, wide for Atherton. Chipped in towards Diamond. Here is Diamond. Looking for Senior. Here's Atherton again, setting himself for a shot. Took what I thought was a deflection, but the referee says goal kick. Huddersfield Town currently residing at 16th in the 3rd division. Wigan, of course, 20th. So a win equally important to both teams. And of course, with this system now with 3 points for a win, they're certainly by no means out of any playoff or even championship hopes until well into the new year. A string of 3 points in a row will certainly bring you right back into contention. Wigan on 14 points, Huddersfield with 20. Here's Maskill. Brings some help. Senior played well. Here's Diamond. Ainscore's calling on the left. Diamond didn't see him. Here's Bent. Nice ball by Bent for Byrne. Andy Holding played well. Adkins out of his goal. Puts it out safely for a throw. This young man, Junior Bent, has obviously got some speed. His ball control is good. The foul by Beasley. Today's substitutes for Wigan is Alan Tankard and Andy Wilson. Wilson, of course, a front runner, scored a couple of goals in the reserve this season already. Offside signalled by the linesman. A referee plays advantage. Atherton. Pillins made a run. Here's Diamond. Pillins still in centre on his own, unmarked. Tony Diamond's got a run on. Good run by Diamond. Cross. Gathered by Erdwick. But a good run again by Diamond. He's settling in. His confidence is growing more and more. He stays. Everybody offside for Wigan. Atherton had to hold. Butler made a run. Atherton elected for senior. Here's Pillin. Butler. Here's senior now. Good attacking play by senior. Ainscoe wide on the left. Plenty in the middle for Wigan. Cross just too long by Ainscoe. Wigan playing with confidence. And Aldin won the ball. The foul on Cecilia. The two central forwards for Huddersfield, Mick Byrne and Mike Cecilia, 9 and 11. Also up there is Ken O'Doherty, number 5. He's taking position next to Andy Holding. And Byrne almost in behind. Nice chip by Chris Hutchins. And this time, O'Doherty fouls Entwistle. Free kick is McEwen. And Huddersfield playing the offside run. McEwen delayed as long as he possibly could before he took the kick. The referee was giving him a little wave to tell him to get on with it. Headed by McEwen. Here's Bent. Here's May. Wide for Byrne. 3 in the middle for Huddersfield. Towards Bent. No power. Possibility that Adkins was off his line, and indeed he wasn't. Good thinking by Bent. Pushing the back from Diamond. But he's given the advantage. Cross too low. Here's Pillin. Turn for Butler. Wide is Ainscough. Here's Entwistle. Beasley. Cross. Hutchins with the header away. Junior Bent. Beasley. Hutchins again. Indeed, that was Andy May, not Hutchins. Headed by Beasley. And Ainscough with the header. Here's Ainscough. Sliced it off his boot. Header out by May. Beasley. Here's Bent. A bit ambitious that time. Ainscough this time called for offside. Looked like he moved after the ball was kicked to me, but not my opinion that counts. Wasted rather by O'Doherty. Entwistle, good header by Entwistle. Senior got in sharp, couldn't control it. Too far for Diamond. Well, quite a reasonable crowd on, certainly more than Tuesday evening. Header out was by Beasley. Here's May. Here's Mitchell. Byrne. Bent. Good play by Pillin. Went straight under Winter. Here's May. One for Maskill to chase. Junior Bent's through again. Certainly had some pace. His shot. And over the top. Adkins had it covered. It's all down the right-hand side for Huddersfield. Header back was by Maskill. Here's Cecilia, shot. Bent, back for May. And across the face of the goal, there was Graham Mitchell with a cross. And certainly some dangerous low crosses coming in from this right-hand side. Entwistle, not able to turn with the ball. Header on was by Entwistle. Here he is again. No Butler. Senior and fouled. I think it looked a bit more dangerous than it was. I think he was just beaten for speed. Atherton We'll leave it for Ainscough. Header out was by Byrne. And Mr. Mountain down here says offside again. And level is equivalent to offside, and there's probably about 3 people this time that were level with the last man. But no offside trap is infallible. Somebody with the pace of Andy Ainscough, or indeed Tony Diamond, will beat that a couple of times of a game. In towards Byrne. Header out was by Holding. And Pillin. Here's Ainscough now. Trying to turn it back inside for Pillin. Maskill. Back for May. McEwen. Hutchins. This side it's Junior Bent that's offside. As we've seen already, Bent sprung the Wigan offside trap with virtually the first kick he touched. Somebody with that pace, able to run at the defender, will cause trouble for any offside trap. Ainscough not able to get ahead on it. Here's Bent now. Byrne. Ainscough did well. Here's Beasley. Entwistle not in position. There's O'Regan with the header out. And Beasley's headed only just powerful enough to beat Cecilia, who'd run on as the ball was held up in the air. And this time Cecilia about 15 yards offside. Here's Ainscough looking to turn. Holding's behind him. Here's Beasley. Holding's header is Entwistle, senior. Ainscough has got Bent with him. And May in the way. Beasley. Adkins wide for Atherton. Pillin's made a run. Entwistle didn't get his header in. Falls for Diamond. Just lobbed in too hard. And this time Cecilia's offside. And 25 minutes gone, and it's Maskill's goal that separates the two sides. Huddersfield leading 1-0. Mr. Davis says that he can now take it. Header on by Holding. End whistle. Here's Pilling. Handball. Referee says play on. Well, it's certainly an handball. And this time Cecilia called for offside. I thought Beasley was playing him on. End whistle up high. Not high enough. Here's Butler, fighting hard as usual. Took a deflection off the back of Andy Holding. Took the power out of it. I certainly wouldn't like to deflect from Andy Holding and take the power out of me as well. Byrne. And safely for Atherton. End whistle's offside. It's a good ball by Atherton. Diamond wasn't sure where the ball had landed. Good work by Senior and Diamond. Senior enjoys playing further forward than full back. Here's Senior. It's a good cross. This time somebody's offside again. Possibly Wayne Entwistle, not too sure. Position the ball's going to be in, it looks like Wayne Entwistle, but the position of the ball doesn't mean a lot when it comes to offside. Beasley. Offside again against Entwistle this time. Well, that ball is certainly 5 or 6 yards further on than where the linesman put his flag up. This time Byrne called for offside. It's developing into something of an offside trap extravaganza. And the half-time entertainment's going to be the Wigan Circus performing the offside dance. Here's Bent, cut out by Beasley. Good play by Beasley as Ainscough. And Entwistle offside. Head away by Beasley. Here's Holding. Nice turn by Holding. Cecilia turned inside. Had to put the ball away with Bent coming in fast. May with the throw. Here's Bent. Well played by Ainscough. The best of clearances by Entwistle. Off Senior's knees. Diamond. Was good footing, important footing by O'Regan. We're going to have some chime now in the form of Beasley. Pass put Entwistle in trouble. And then whistle foul by O'Doherty. All 11 Huddersfield shirts, complete with players, are inside the Huddersfield third of the half. Huddersfield looking to play offside again. And hopefully it'll backfire on them. O'Doherty for May. Well, it certainly makes for an uninteresting game when that sort of play carries on. As Butler's header is Pilling. This time Bent is offside. Huddersfield line up for offside again. This time they beat it. And if Ainscough had made his header, there was 3 Wigan players in position. Unfortunately, Ainscough's header didn't make contact. And Huddersfield getting a touch of their own medicine. The crowd are getting a bit angry with it. I had a puncture on my way here to the ground this afternoon, and I'm getting a bit angry with it. Here's May. Bent. Byrne with a back heel, nice play. Here's Sasia. Maskill didn't control it, tried to get the penalty. Atherton did well. Here's Butler. Pilling. Entwistle. Beasley. Given away. Here's Byrne. Lining up for a shot. Cross was in by Mitchell. Hutchins at the back. Butler. Here's Entwistle. Senior's made a run. Good run by Senior. Lost his footing. Wigan spectators on that side of the ground appealing for a foul. Here's McEwen. Inside for Butler. Too far for Entwistle. Ainscough wide open on this side. Screaming for the ball. Here's Beasley. Atherton. And towards Entwistle. Senior. Here's Atherton. Looking for Ainscough. May read it well. Header it was by Holding, flick on by Butler. Here's Atherton. Found himself some space. Entwistle tried to turn it, caught it on the corner. Bent. Beasley played well. To give the ball away again is McEwen across. Holden. Back from McEwen. Ainscough in pursuit along with Entwistle. May was quick enough. Burns header. And Beasley with the ball safely back to Ainscough not able to get far enough away from the ball to control it. Header out by Holding. Julian Winter having a word with Mr. Applin. Pillin's pass charged down. Well, I think on my clock we haven't had an offside decision for 5 minutes. Senior and Hutchins in a collision. Senior's, here's Diamond. Atherton's wide. Inside for Entwistle. Here's Hutchins now, 3 against 3. Bent's arriving quick, Ains goes with him. Here's Cecilia, trying his best to get a penalty. Well played by McEwen, who's now sat on the ball with the ball between his legs. It's different. And there we are, they have the offside. We went 7 minutes without it. It wasn't really a proper one, was it? He just hadn't got up and got back in time. And keep going with periods like that, people will actually become interested in the game. And there we are again. Mick Byrne, the man called this time. Entwistle's ball, Holding's turn. Erdwick quickly off his line. Ball from Holding was partially stopped by Graham Mitchell and it took the power out of it. McEwen across to cover for Atherton. Here's Senior. Entwistle. Back for Pillin. McEwen. Looking for Diamond. O'Doherty is up in front of Diamond. So Wigan ball. Well, plenty of running being shown from Wigan. Certainly their heads haven't gone down from that early goal. McEwen. Here's McEwen again. Diamond. He's certainly got a turn of pace as Tony Diamond. 3 up front for him. Atherton with the overlap. Crossing from Atherton. And we've got an offside down that side now. Waved on by the referee. Both Wigan substitutes warming up. Whether somebody's taking a knock or perhaps Ray Mathias is going to have a reshuffle early on. Well, it's a shame that Huddersfield resort to that because the young coloured lad over this side, Junior Ben, certainly has the capability of putting more than one goal on the board. Here's Mitchell on the overlap, Beasley across, and that'll be a corner. First corner of the game. And really Huddersfield have got enough strike power and indeed enough skill to make it a much more interesting game if they want to. It really makes you wonder what the public must think when they see teams doing that sort of thing. Here's Beasley, safely back for Adkins. End whistle. Not the best pass he's ever likely to make. Good work by Senior. Here's Pillin. Diamond's outside. Good work by Pillin. Cross towards the back post is in score. Almost back in for Entwistle. Good work by Pillin and Senior. Holding's header. Everybody thought they were offside that time and weren't. O'Regan with a clearance. Here's Holding. Butler. Ainscough. Butler again. Back for Beasley. Holding's pass. Here's O'Regan. Diamond's in pursuit. Butler up. Here's Pillin. Back for Butler. Ainscough. Holding's cross. Too far for Senior. Chris Hutchins. It's a homer. Good pressure by Wigan. Just not able to capitalise on it. Here's Pillin. Back through Atherton. McEwen. Ainscough slipped. Beasley lining up at the far post. Here's Diamond at near post. Butler not able to get a full foot on the ball. Huddersfield come over with Maskell. Byrne and Cecilia up front. Craig Maskell. That's off Butler. It'll be a throw-in for Huddersfield. McEwen's header, and score with the clearance. Here's Ainscough now. Looking for Entwistle. Entwistle's header on. Diamond had made a slight run too fast. Beasley. Ainscough. Put the ball out. Here's May. Cecilia's across with McEwen. Bent. Went round McEwen. Good play by Bent. And was left by Mitchell. Had a free header and decided to leave it. Here's Hutchins. Off Steve Senior. Andy May. And pressure by Huddersfield now. McEwen only as far as Bent. He's going to run at Beasley again. Beasley got a touch and that'll be a corner. Fell in with a clearance off his shin, and the ball attempted shot by Winter. Wigan now chance with press forward with Atherton. Here's Senior, got Hutchins with him, back for Atherton. Here's Pillin. Entwistle looked like he was fouled. I think the referee's given a foul. Indeed he has. Ainscough's gone across to take the free kick. Just in front of the Russian flag, Mr. Gorbachev's favourite team, of course. And towards Entwistle, just wide. A minute to half time. Still Huddersfield 1, Wigan 0. The referee decides that it came off Beasley and will be Huddersfield throw in the form of May. Atherton with some time and space. One for Entwistle to chase, or Egan with the back header. Entwistle's header, Butler. Here's Ainscough, looking for some help. Beasley, and the ball off Bent for a throw-in. Good defending by Bent. And a good first half. Here's Cecilia. Holding miskicked. McBurn fighting hard and out of play. A Wigan throw. McEwen with Cecilia. McEwen gets the better of him that time. Good speed shown by Stan McEwen. And the referee, Mr. Alpin, decides that that's half-time. In what has been very much a mixture, some good attacking football by both teams. And Huddersfield in particular have been guilty of some extreme offside trap tactics, which, if anything, caused great dismay to the crowd. Half-time then, it's Wigan Athletic 0, Huddersfield Town 1. Welcome back. Quick Mick Luckhurst impression. And straight away it's Huddersfield on the attack with Craig Maskill. The referee says corner. Well, at least it wasn't offside. Swinging corner, easily received by Nigel Adkins. Good kick as well by Adkins. Ainscough's in there. Here is Ainscough. Cuts back inside. Senior. Filling. And this time Julian Winters called for the foul. McEwen up for holding. Straight back up in the air by... Almost fell for Diamond. Here's Bent. Senior. Off Bent for the corner. Good play by Senior, chased it well. Ainscough across for the corner. McEwen's near post with Beasley. On the line is Diamond. In for McEwen. The best of corners from Ainscough. This time he fouls Winter. Here's McEwen. Safely back for Adkins. Good contingent from Huddersfield, made a short journey across the Pennines. Of course, relegated last year from Division 2. And I'm sure that most Huddersfield fans won't want to remember the one game that sticks in my mind from last year, that I saw them when they lost 10-0 to Manchester City. Something of a freak. Indeed, they were in the same yellow and black checks at the time. Holding with the header, he's Pilling. They certainly won't lose 10-0 today anyway, as they're leading 1-0 already. A lot for Wigan to do. Throwing for Huddersfield. All played in towards Byrne. Here's O'Doherty for Bent. O'Doherty, and just wide. Sorry, that was Cecilia, just wide. And the lights and the difficulty of reading this strip are not making it any easier up here at all. And I'm not whinging, honestly. And my cameraman's just turned around and said he can't see him neither. Never mind. Here's Senior. And Diamond's offside. Linesman looking like General Custer on that side, the way he was waving his flag. Header was by Beasley. Here's O'Regan. Butler, Entwistle got in the way. Wanted to be cleared. McEwen in front of Cecilia. Butler, Beasley. Both Wigan substitutes are now warming up again. Here's Butler. Diamond almost through, but Hutchins quickly across. Good play by Chris Hutchins. Here's Junior Bent. McBurn, nice turn. Didn't come McEwen. Hutchins, Senior with the header. Good header by Senior. Nobody up front for Wigan. Hutchins and Senior having words. Referee's going to come across now and have words with both of them. I think Hutchins liked the power of Senior's header. McBurn with the header. Here's Cecilia. Not able to direct his shot. And Whistle saying that he was fouled. Here's Atherton, back for Adkins. Up towards Diamond. Header was by O'Regan. This time it's a foul on Pilling. McEwen's free kick for Ainscough. And it was off May for a Wigan throw. Beasley. Butler. Here's Olden, looking for some help. Finds the byline, and that'll be a corner. So just Maskill left up front now for Huddersfield, as all the other men are back in the penalty area. It's one for Maskill to chase. Andy Pillins with him. Safely back for Atherton. Andy May was up before Ainscough. Kick on was from by Butler. It's too far for Diamond. Good kick by Erdwick. Atherton almost put Adkins in trouble. Was to see her coming in fast. Ball was hard enough. Entwistle not getting his head on that. Clearances by May. Mick Byrne was underneath it, but McEwen was in position. Here's Hutchins, who'll let the ball run out. McEwen's header. Senior kept the ball in well. Looking for Entwistle to chase. Senior working hard. Byrne was pushing on McEwen. Here's Maskill. Andy holding across. And Adkins not able to keep the ball in. Huddersfield have been no hurry to take the ball as they're 1-up. Just over half an hour left in the game. Corner short. Crossing by Hutchins. Winter put himself in trouble and indeed had to concede possession. Atherton. Entwistle's header. And the ball was handled by O'Regan. McEwen looking for Ainscough. May in the way. Here's Ainscough now. Good work by Andy May. Pace certainly stepped up since the first half. Beasley's going to take the throw. In for Entwistle. Back for Ainscough. Cross. Senior's in position. Couldn't direct it. Olding couldn't direct it. Here's Beasley now. Given away. It's Atherton, one-on-one. Bent's inside. Good work by Bent. And Atherton narrowed the angle. For a moment, Atherton was one-on-one with Tasia. Atherton covered well. Shut him down. Here's Tasia, he's in the clear. And well, the skill had been used. He'd done well to get himself clear and just fluff the shot. That happens time after time to people. And thankfully for Wigan's sake, it didn't find the top corner because he was in a perfect position on the penalty spot. Just Adkins coming out. Header on was by Entwistle. Turn was from Diamond. Butler. Good run by John Butler. He's outside Hutchins. He's got Atherton coming back. But wants a wrong foot for Atherton. Not a good cross. Atherton again. Pillin's in there. Across to cover was O'Doherty. Out for a Wigan throw. The crowd getting behind the team now. Good effort this by Wigan. Crosses in towards Diamond. From Atherton. Fell for Pillin and just wide. It curled off his boot. It was an open goal. And Pillin took it on the volley and curled wide. Perfect view from up here. Not easy for Andy Pillin. Looked a lot more easy than it actually was. Had he put that away, would have been a hero. As it is, of course, he's the villain. But good spell of pressure by Wigan. Huddersfield under the cosh a little. Good header by Holding. Beasley up. Ball's fallen for Byrne. Turned it inside, tried to put Bent away. Holding across. Put the ball out for a throw. Huddersfield looking dangerous on the break, but not building through the midfield very much. Bent with Beasley. Put it back for Pillin. Here's Beasley again. And misunderstanding between Diamond and Entwistle. This time Bent's offside. Waves play on the referee. Atherton had to go back to Adkins. Pillin. Beasley again, in for Ainscourt. Good run. Ken O'Doherty with the intercepted pass, made the run. And it came off Paul Beasley for the corner. Header at the back was by Mitchell and safely collected by Adkins. Senior was up. Ball was too high from McEwen to Diamond. Looked like O'Regan was holding him down for a while, but Straplin didn't agree. Holding. Senior couldn't reach it, and that's good play by Steve Senior off Chris Hutchins. Atherton. Here's Butler, back for Atherton. Inside for Butler. Good run by Butler, and just over. A good effort by John Butler, well appreciated by the Wigan fans. And that's the sort of thing that Wigan have been lacking And typical of John Butler to provide that sort of spark. Byrne, touch on, Atherton. Here's Entwistle. Hutchins and Senior. Hutchins had to put the ball out. Good pressure by Wigan. McEwen. Poor ball in. Here's Bent. He didn't control it well that time, and Ainscough came back and collected. Butler, nice turn. Almost through for Pillin. May's in trouble, he's looking for help. Good work by May. Here's Winter. Good play. Andy Pillin's onside, didn't control it. Andy Pillin's first touch, not able to control it. O'Regan and Hardwick playing slow down time. Here's Atherton. Safely back for Adkins. Header on by Pillin. Here's Diamond. Ains goes wide. Diamond slipped as he was trying to turn. Here's Cecilia. It's got Byrne in the middle. Ainscough. Atherton off the back of Beasley. Byrne tried the back heel. Butler was there to tidy up. Better kick from Adkins. Here's Ainscough. Plenty forward for Wigan. Chip was towards Diamond, but too short. Here's Beasley. Here's Diamond. Diamond's through. A good save by Hardwick, spread himself well. It's a good ball from Pillin. Put Diamond clear. Here's Beasley. Beasley again. Ainscough. Here's Cecilia. Wigan have done just about everything but score so far. Turn by Butler. Header was O'Doherty. Now Mitchell. Cecilia and Holden. But Bent's outside. Here's Bent now. Good play by Holden. Bundled in swinging corner, and a back header at the near post. Adkins didn't collect, and they're completely against the run of play. Mike Cecilia puts the visitors 2 ahead. And really, nothing more than a lucky break for Huddersfield. And now we're going to really underneath it. 2-0 down. About 20 minutes or so left to play. Here's Steve Senior. Hutchins. Butler's header. Entwistle was fouled by O'Regan. And that's a situation where I think more people would like to see A caution from the referee. Entwistle was virtually clear and O'Regan held him back. Ainscough with the cross. All the way through and had to be put out by Mitchell at the back post. Mick Burns made his way back on the penalty spot. Beasley's at the near post. Diamond just on the 6-yard area. Entwistle holding. And Ainscough, it's holding. And good save. Good header by Holding. Run from the far post. McEwen. Here come Huddersfield again. Maskill. Beasley's tackle saved the day as he almost put Bent through. Here's Senior coming wide. Butler back for Atherton. And off Hutchins. Butler, nice turn by Butler. Entwistle. Hutchins clearance. Here's Butler again. Entwistle for Butler. Tried to cross. Pass was intercepted. Burnham McEwen. McEwen got the better off by Maskill. Nice back heel by Maskill. Here's Hutchins. Cross wide for Cecilia. Junior Bent slipped. Andy May. Dummy by Cecilia. Adkins with a kick. So about quarter of an hour left. 17 minutes or so left. And Wigan 2-0 down. In a game where certainly they've dominated the second half in large parts. One of the Huddersfield substitutes now warming up. Atherton looking towards Pillin to Canuck. Here's Senior. Pillin up. Butler looked like he took an elbow to the face. Butler still fighting. Ended up fouling. It's what football is all about. Butler again. Pillin. Wide for Senior. Atherton's coming to make the overlap. Here's Atherton now. Senior put the ball back behind him. Here's Maskill. And John Butler does the business again. When the Lord was looking for somebody with some grit and a bit of fight, he created a body and gave it John Butler. Here's Ainscough. Bread and butter football player, John Butler. Atherton, Diamond. Pillin's pass. Ainscough's that quick, not quick, but not that quick. Even Andy Ainscough couldn't have stopped that one. I don't believe his parents were whippets anyway. Here's Pillin. Looks safely for Hutchins. Loads of time. Butler. Diamond in pursuit. Senior. Here's Butler again. Shot. Just over. Well, Wigan really all as they do need is a couple of goals to set them on the way. And I'm sure that'll do the business. Because certainly they haven't played badly in this match. And Mick Burns going to be replaced. Peter With's going to make his appearance. Peter With, former Notts Forest striker, straight swap. Striker for striker. With's first touch is a header, make much of it. Clearance by Atherton. Here's Entwistle. Pushed down that time by Mitchell, by O'Doherty. Numbers are virtually impossible to read. And we're going to see a substitution, I think, for Wigan. Both substitutes are stripped off. Olding's header. Atherton looked to set up for a shot, decided not to. Probably wishes he had now. Butler's back to cover. Junior Bent's chasing hard. Entwistle missed an header. And indeed, Andy Wilson is going to replace Andy Pillin. Here's Wilson. Oldham. So Wilson has some 12 minutes. He's taken up a position wide on the right-hand side. We're going to now showing a 4-2-4 formation with Wilson playing forward of Entwistle. Good play by Erdwick. Big appeal for handball, but the referee checked with the linesman. Erdwick wasn't outside his area, but that was caused by the pace of Andy Wilson. Automatically, straight away, there was a chance for Wigan. Hutchins and Wilson exchanging words. Here's With. Turn for Cecile. A goal kick. Here's Cecile. Maskill. With's on the penalty spot. There's With, and us over the top. Entwistle, wide for Wilson. Atherton's made a run in front of him. Here's Atherton now. Looking to turn. Turn but ran out of space. Wilson had made a run. Hutchins throw. McEwen climbed on With. That's a free kick. Ten minutes or so to play. With Zedder. Maskill. And roll the way across the face of the goal. Only Beasley there put a boot on it. May. It was too long for Maskill. And whistle. Here's again. Butler missed the chance. Offside against Sasia. Atherton's kick. Header on was by McEwen. Ball's fallen for Ainscough. Bent in front of him. Here's McEwen again. This time is fouled. Graham Mitchell. McEwen and Ainscough over the ball. It's going to be McEwen. Off the wall. McEwen again. Flicks the ball back in. Junior Bent. Ball's going to run. Plenty of time. Atherton across. Maskill. No chance. Diamond with a turn, Entwistle. Wilson's wide on the right. Wilson looking for the ball. Had some space before that. Not the best ball in the world by Wilson. Here he is again. Picked off again. Peter With. Wilson working hard, fighting hard. Off Entwistle. The referee says that it's a Huddersfield throw. Hutchins will take his time. Looking for With. Beat Atherton. Butler. And Bent offside. Bent kicked the ball away. The referee ignored it. McEwen's kick towards Holding. Here's O'Regan. Beasley. Good tackle by Beasley this time. Here's Ainscough. Back inside for Beasley. This is Sasia. He's got behind Holding. Turn, Bent. Across the face of the goal. And indeed, goal kick. Good break again. This time by Sasia on the right hand side. Bent had made a good run forward and just missed kick the side foot. Within collision with Butler. With won the header. Here's Atherton. Slipped as he tried to kick. And Wilson kept the ball in. Here's With. Wide for Bent. Needs some support. There's three up there now for Huddersfield. Bent's looking for some turn. Didn't get it. Here's Ainscough. Clears the ball. Only as far as May. Crosses aim towards With. Atherton's header. Here's Maskill, cross back in. Punch on was by Adkins, and Beasley put the ball behind. About 6 minutes left to play. Wigan still 2 down. Adkins' punch with, and all the way across on the volley. Well, it wasn't too many seasons ago that somebody like Peter With would have buried that. Sasia, Maskill. Winter had run offside, that's why the player held up. Here's Butler. Header out was by Ken O'Doherty. Atherton's throw-in. Senior, Diamond was offside. With inside for Maskill. Good run by Maskill. Good cover by Senior. And offside. Here's May. And scores that out. And John Butler once again. Without doubt, Butler's had a good game. Ainscough. Everybody left it for one another. Indeed, it wasn't Ainscough, it was Diamond. No excuses about the numbers this time, just slipped up. Sorry. Peter With, and holding. Beasley's clearance. Beasley again. Here's Bent. Back for May. McEwen. Looking to lob. Kieran O'Regan, but he was in the position again. Winter. With. Puts Bent, and Bent's offside. Good thinking again by With and Bent. Beasley, and that'll run slowly out. It'll go for a throw-in, and the goal kick. We'll move into injury time, and there won't be too much of that. Mr. Alpin's checked with both linesmen. Bent. Here's Ainscough. Didn't control it. With, looking to turn. Bent. Beasley with the interception. And safely back by O'Regan. And with the help of Hutchins. Hutchins wasted that rather. He certainly had time on his side. Andy Wilson was in pursuit. Here's with Maskill. Adkins. Bent. May. Here's with again. Good play by With. And squandered rather by Mitchell. Referee's played 2 minutes of stoppage time. Checks his watch again. Did he listen to it then? I wonder if he stopped ticking. May safely back to Erdwick. Beasley's header. Out for a Huddersfield throw. Referee's looking at his watch again. Certainly played plenty of stoppage time. Hasn't been a trainer on the field that I can remember all afternoon. McEwen, here's Wilson. Robbed by Hutchins. Atherton looking for help. Linesman signalled again that time's up. Indeed, the referee now signals that time's up. Final score then, Huddersfield 2, Wigan 0. And the Huddersfield players across